Picture this. You're walking through a bustling toy convention in Hong Kong in the mid-2000s. Bright lights, endless booths, every corner filled with shiny action figures, sleek anime models, and polished collectibles that scream cool. And then, tucked away in a corner, you spot something odd. A scruffy little creature with oversized ears, mischievous bug-like eyes, and a grin that looks equal parts terrifying and hilarious. It doesn't look like Barbie. It doesn't look like Marvel. In fact, it doesn't look like anything that should be standing a chance in the polished world of global toys. But this little gremlin-looking thing has a name: Labubu. At first glance, most people laugh, tilt their heads, or mutter, "What on earth is that?" But here's the thing about Labubu. Once you look, you can't look away. There's something oddly magnetic about it, like the toy itself is daring you to either hate it or fall hopelessly in love. Labubu wasn't born out of corporate boardrooms or market research focus groups. Nope, it came straight out of the imagination of Kasing Lung, a Hong Kong artist known for doodling whimsical, slightly creepy, slightly cute characters. Lung's art wasn't polished Disney-style animation. It was raw, hand-sketched, filled with quirks. He liked creatures with jagged teeth, oversized features, and expressions that looked like they had a secret to tell. Labubu was one of those doodles. Just a sketch in his notebook that looked too bizarre to ever be mainstream. But that's exactly what made it special. In the early 2010s, the global toy industry was dominated by giants: Lego, Hasbro, Mattel. If you wanted to make it big, you had to follow the formula: bright colors, familiar characters, safe designs. But Labubu wasn't safe. It was unpredictable. It looked like it belonged more in a Tim Burton sketchbook than on a child's shelf. And yet, people started noticing. When Lung's creations began appearing in collaboration with Pop Mart, a then up-and-coming Chinese toy company focusing on designer blind box collectibles, things clicked. Pop Mart had the perfect distribution model: mystery boxes, limited editions, collectible culture. And Labubu? It was the perfect star, strange enough to stand out, cute enough to attract collectors, and unique enough to inspire obsession. Let's pause here. Do you know the thrill of buying a mystery box? It's like a lottery ticket mixed with a present. You don't know what's inside, but the rush of ripping it open is half the fun. Pop Mart built its empire on this concept. And when they paired it with Labubu, it was like pouring gasoline on a campfire. Collectors lined up, stores sold out, social media filled with unboxing videos. People weren't just buying toys anymore. They were buying experiences. That moment of tearing open a box and praying you'd get the rarest Labubu variant? Pure adrenaline. Here's the wild part. Labubu wasn't meant to be a mainstream hit. Its quirky look made it feel underground, almost like an inside joke among collectors. And that actually worked in its favor. Owning a Labubu wasn't just about having a toy. It was about being part of a community, a tribe. If you knew, you knew. Labubu slowly morphed into a symbol of rebellion in the toy world. While other toys were polished and predictable, Labubu said, "Why fit in when you can stand out?" What started in Asia didn't stay in Asia. By the late 2010s, Labubu fever was spreading like wildfire. Pop Mart opened flagship stores in London, Los Angeles, and Tokyo. Labubu designs began fetching insane prices on resale markets. Limited editions dropped, and within minutes they were gone, snapped up by fans and scalpers alike. To put it into perspective, a rare Labubu figurine that retailed for $10 could resell for hundreds, sometimes thousands online. Not bad for a weird little goblin. Now, let's zoom out. Why does something as odd as Labubu succeed in a world where safe, cute toys dominate? Here's the secret sauce. It's different. In a market flooded with sameness, weird wins. It's collectible, Humans love scarcity. Limited runs equals higher demand. It builds community. Collectors don't just buy. They share, trade, bond. It's emotional. Love it or hate it, Labubu makes you feel something. This is the paradox of Labubu. It breaks the rules, and that's why it works. Without Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, Labubu might have stayed a niche Asian phenomenon. But the internet thrives on visuals, and Labubu is ridiculously photogenic in its weirdness. Fans started posting creative photo shoots, unboxings, even skits starring their Labubu collections. Suddenly, Labubu wasn't just a toy, it was content. And content spreads faster than anything. Influencers jumped on board. Toy reviewers raved about the craftsmanship. Even people who had zero interest in toys found themselves oddly fascinated by this bug-eyed creature taking over their feeds. And just like that, Labubu became a cultural meme. A character you might not know by name, but you'd recognize instantly. By the late 2010s, Labubu wasn't just another collectible. It had become a cultural phenomenon. Walk into a Pop Mart store in Beijing, Shanghai, or Hong Kong, and you'd see crowds gathered around vending machines spitting out blind boxes. Each click, each purchase, carried the hope of discovering a rare Labubu. And it wasn't just kids. Office workers, university students, even parents who'd come just for fun, found themselves hooked. It was the perfect blend of nostalgia and novelty, a childhood joy of toys mixed with the adult thrill of limited edition exclusivity. Soon, Labubu wasn't living on toy shelves anymore. It was showing up on desks, bookshelves, and even in art galleries. Collectors began to treat their Labubu figures like fine art. Some even displayed them in glass cases, arranging them like museum pieces. Now, here's where the genius of Pop Mart shines through. They didn't just sell toys, they created an ecosystem. Think of it like Apple and the iPhone. The product is great, sure. What keeps people hooked is the ecosystem, the apps, the updates, the accessories. For Pop Mart, the ecosystem was community. They built online forums, fan clubs, and collector events. They hosted conventions where thousands of fans showed up just to celebrate Labubu and its fellow Pop Mart characters. Suddenly, owning Labubu wasn't just about possession, it was about belonging. And that belonging? It became priceless. Here's a little secret about human psychology. We're wired to crave what we can't have. Scarcity creates obsession. And Pop Mart played this game like a maestro. Every few months, they'd release limited edition Labubus. Maybe it was a Christmas Labubu in festive red and green, or a Halloween Labubu with a spooky twist, or a golden Labubu shimmering like treasure. Each drop was a spectacle. Fans camped online, credit cards ready, fingers hovering over, buy now. The result? Instant sellouts, crashing websites, frenzied social media buzz. Collectors compared it to sneaker drops from Nike or Supreme's limited fashion releases. In fact, Labubu became the supreme of toys. Then came the crossover moment. Fashion brands noticed. Streetwear culture, always hungry for the next big thing, started flirting with Labubu designs. Stickers popped up on skateboards. T-shirts featuring Labubu prints started selling out. Collaborations followed, Labubu meeting the world of hoodies, sneakers, and high-end fashion capsules. Suddenly, this scruffy little creature wasn't confined to shelves. It was on the streets, in wardrobes, on Instagram selfies. What had started as an oddball toy now had cultural weight. Pop Mart knew they had lightning in a bottle. But to truly make Labubu a global icon, they had to expand beyond Asia. So they opened flagship stores in London, Los Angeles, Tokyo, and Sydney. At first, skeptics wondered, would Western audiences embrace something as strange as Labubu? After all, Western toy markets were dominated by superheroes, Disney princesses, and polished, picture-perfect characters. But the gamble paid off. Western collectors, especially millennials and Gen Z, loved Labubu's weirdness. It wasn't trying to be perfect. It was cheeky, mischievous, and unlike anything else on the market. In a world drowning in predictable content, Labubu was a refreshing punch of originality. With global demand came the inevitable, resale madness. Remember Beanie Babies in the 90s? Or sneaker culture in the 2000s? Labubu became the new frontier of collectibles. A Labubu blind box that cost $10 retail could resell for $200, $500, even $1,000 if it was rare enough. Forums filled with heated debates about value. Collectors became investors, and investors? They became speculators, betting on the next drop like it was the stock market. It was chaos, and it was glorious. Here's the million-dollar question. Why did Labubu, of all things, click so well with younger generations? The answer lies in culture. Authenticity over polish. Labubu wasn't sleek or shiny. It was weird, raw, and real. Meme culture. Its exaggerated expressions made it instantly shareable online. FOMO culture. Blind boxes and limited editions fed directly into the fear of missing out. Community culture. Collecting wasn't solo anymore. It was shared, posted, celebrated. Labubu didn't just sell toys. It sold an identity. To own Labubu was to say, I'm part of something fun, quirky, and different. As Labubu fever spread, something interesting happened. Kasing Lung, the artist behind Labubu, started getting recognition, not just as a toy designer, but as an artist. Galleries began featuring his sketches, paintings, and sculptures. Collectors who once sneered at toys suddenly realized they were holding pieces of pop art in their hands. Think about it. Andy Warhol turned soup cans into art. KAWS turned cartoon-inspired figures into million-dollar sculptures. Labubu followed that path, blurring the line between kids' toy and adult collectible. And that blurring? It only made Labubu more desirable. By 2020, Pop Mart was riding high on the Labubu. They went public on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and guess what? Their IPO was one of the hottest of the year. Investors scrambled. Shares soared. Analysts credited Labubu and its fellow characters for driving the company's meteoric rise. In fact, Labubu wasn't just a toy anymore. It was an economic engine. From a sketch in Kasing Lung's notebook to a stock market powerhouse, that's the definition of surreal success. But then came 2020's curveball, COVID-19. Stores shut down. Supply chains froze. Collectibles, like so many industries, seemed doomed. And yet, Labubu thrived. How? Digital. Pop Mart leaned hard into online sales, e-commerce platforms, and virtual unboxing events. Fans who couldn't visit stores now joined live streams where influencers ripped open blind boxes on camera. Online communities buzzed louder than ever. For many stuck at home, collecting Labubu wasn't just a hobby. It was a lifeline, a way to find joy in dark times. Sales didn't collapse. They soared. And Labubu proved it wasn't a fad. It was resilient. By the early 2020s, Labubu wasn't just a collectible figure. It was a symbol. A symbol of how play, art, and commerce could collide in the most unexpected way. People no longer looked at Labubu as a toy. They saw it as a badge of creativity, a spark of rebellion against the polished, predictable mainstream. Kids loved it. Adults admired it. Collectors worshipped it. When you held a Labubu in your hand, you weren't just holding vinyl and paint. You were holding a story, the story of Kasing Lung's imagination, Pop Mart's daring gamble, and the millions of fans who gave it life. Here's something every successful business knows. Once you've got cultural momentum, you don't stop at the core product. You expand. and expand Labubu did. Suddenly, there were plush Labubus for younger fans, keychains and phone cases for everyday carry, clothing lines featuring Labu prints, art books showcasing Kasing Lung's designs. Each expansion brought Labu into new corners of people's lives. You didn't just see it on shelves. You saw it on backpacks, on coffee mugs, even on sneakers. It was brilliant. Every product reinforced the brand, and every product whispered the same message. Labubu is everywhere, and it belongs with you. But here's the real secret sauce: the community. Pop Mart wasn't just selling objects. They were selling membership into a worldwide club. Fans connected on Instagram, TikTok, and Discord servers, showing off their rare pulls, trading duplicates, and celebrating each other's wins. The joy wasn't just in the toy. It was in the shared experience. Remember, this wasn't just a purchase, it was a ritual. The mystery of the blind box, the thrill of unboxing, the anticipation of discovering whether you had something rare, and then sharing that moment online where thousands of others celebrated with you. That's how Labubu turned from a product into a movement. By now, Labubu had crossed borders, languages, and cultures. Walk into a Pop Mart store in London, New York, or Paris, and you'd see the same frenzy you'd find in Beijing or Tokyo. Lines outside, shelves empty, fans buzzing with excitement. And the resale market? Still roaring. Rare editions became the crown jewels of collector circles. A single Labubu figure could spark bidding wars online, climbing into four-digit prices. Labubu was no longer a niche Asian craze. It was a global phenomenon. Of course, with success comes skepticism. Some critics argued Labubu's just another fad, destined to burn bright and fade fast, like Beanie Babies or Furbies. They pointed to the hype cycles, the resale bubble, and the danger of oversaturation. But Pop Mart didn't flinch. They knew the difference between a passing trend and a cultural anchor lay in reinvention. So they doubled down on creativity, new collaborations, new series, new stories behind each release. They kept Labubu evolving, refusing to let it stagnate. And that evolution? It kept fans hooked. When the history of 21st century business is written, Labu won't just appear in the toys and collectibles section. It will show up in the chapters about culture, branding, and the future of consumer connection. Because at its heart, Labu isn't just about vinyl figures. It's about a bigger idea, that in a noisy, oversaturated world, people crave things that feel personal, playful, and alive. Labubu proved that success doesn't always come from being sleek, serious, or perfect. Sometimes it comes from embracing the odd, the quirky, the offbeat, and turning it into something everyone can love. So where does Labubu go from here? Pop Mart has hinted at animated series, digital collectibles, and metaverse crossovers. Imagine Labubu not just as a figure on your desk, but as an avatar in your favorite game or a character in an animated show. The possibilities are endless, and knowing Pop Mart, they'll seize them all. Because if there's one thing Labubu has taught us, it's this: dreams don't stay in boxes. They grow, evolve, and take on lives of their own.